Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Paul, otherwise known here on YouTube as Optibotimus, and I am coming to you with a very special early movie review. Thanks to the folks at Hyundai, I was invited to a private screening, as well as several other people. I still have the wristband on. I got home late last night, and I have not yet taken this off. But a lot of people were there. It was meant to be like a special fan event, and they reached out to me saying that they think that I'd be the exact type of fan that they would love to have at this event, so they were personally inviting me. I know that John Bailey, the Honest Trailers voice over guy, there's a lot of other voices and things that he does. He was also there. I got to sit by him and everything, and we reminisced, talked Transformers, had a good time. But they contacted me, letting me know that they were doing this event type of thing where it was going to be like a what do you call it? Like I turned my screen off, sorry. There was going to be like a scavenger hunt thing, and what you had to do was find this. This was featured in the movie. This is the new Hyundai Veloster, and Hyundai went to the movie people and gave them this car and said you can basically do whatever you need to do for it, so they tricked it out big time. And this was a really fun scene in the movie. We'll get to it, but you see the bottom here. It says Ant-Man and the Wasp. So the whole idea was these were hidden around the LA area, and if you found it, it was your ticket to be able to see the movie 3 days early. Today is the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day to all my American friends. The movie comes out on the 6th, so this we got to see it 3 days early. We also got a little poster thing from it, which is cool. I like that. It was a nice little swag kind of thing. They gave you a free soda, free popcorn, free candy, all that. So there was some cool stuff to it, but we got to see the movie early. Now, I'm going to let you know, and I have it in the title, this movie, or this video is going to contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, and many of you probably haven't, don't watch this video unless you don't mind being spoiled or anything. Yeah, some people may have already seen it because... Oh, wait, no, actually, I don't even think it opens in the UK until like August or something like that. So, if you have no interest in knowing anything about the movie, don't watch this video anymore. Watch it this weekend, come back, and then you can watch the video and you can partake in the discussion. So... The movie, so here we go, going into it. The movie opens kind of as a reminder of how Hank Pym's wife, I don't remember her name. I'm terrible with names, but we have, the first movie introduced us to Hank Pym, Scott Lang, and Hope Van Dyne. And his wife was the original Wasp. We know that from the first movie, and she shrunk down into the quantum realm to get beyond the metal of a nuclear missile. They had to disrupt it, and the only way that they could do it was for her to shrink between the molecules. And she saved the day, but she was lost. And for the longest time, Hank thought she was gone for good. We find out that through Scott, who enters the quantum realm, he's saved by her, and again, I don't remember her name. She's played by Michelle Pfeiffer in the new movie. So the whole story of Ant-Man and the Wasp is them trying to get her back. They know that she's still alive. They are trying to figure out how to enter the quantum realm. And what we discover is that this movie, now this is one thing that kind of confused me. And I talked to John Bailey about this as well, and it was a little bit confusing also. That the movie starts off as like a flashback of Hank and his wife doing that stuff. And then it fast forwards to what actually says down in the bottom, it says present day. So when it says present day, I'm thinking now, like right now, which means after the events of Infinity War. Come to find out, this movie actually takes place just before the events of Infinity War, and we find that out at the middle credit scene. There are two end credit scenes, credit after credit, not after credits. There's a mid credit scene and an after credit scene, and we find out that this movie actually takes place just before the events of Infinity War in that first mid credit scene. So the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, then why did they put present day? Because when they say present day, that instantly makes me think that it happens after Infinity War, right now. Like all the events of Infinity War happened, and now it's present day. That's what I was thinking of, but it's not. And you know, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But so we fast forward to Scott being on house arrest after the events of Civil War. He's been released. I think they said that he was in prison. He was arrested for 2 years, and then had like 3 years, I think, or something like that, of house arrest that he had to go through. He's wearing a little thing around his ankle. And we see that his daughter is visiting him. He's got like this whole plaything built in the house so that they can have fun as Ant-Man. It's all make-believe that they're shrinking down and being in the big area and stuff, which is cute. And then we see that his partner, again, I forgot his name, the Latino gentleman, really hilarious actor. He was in the first one with the group of ex-cons. They start a business for security, and I think it's actually called like ex-con security. But the whole idea is that he needs to behave himself so that he can see his daughter again. Because of the events of Civil War, basically Hank and Hope are on the run. They're nowhere to be found, basically. Scott says he hasn't had contact with them, which is well, my thing's falling. We're led to believe that that's basically a lie. Sorry, I didn't suction cup this on here very well. So we're led to believe that that's kind of a lie of sorts, and this is all messed up now. But it's he's doing this for his daughter. He's doing it for his family, and it makes sense. In the interim, both Hank and Hope are trying to figure out a way to get in touch and find his wife and her mom. And what we discover is that somehow, some way, when Scott was in the quantum realm, the wife, the original WASP, put some kind of like an antenna, that's how it was described, some kind of a way to communicate through Scott. So there's a scene where he's sleeping and gets these visions, and they're visions of Hope as a child and the mom, and they're communicating, and Scott doesn't understand it, so he pulls out a phone that actually calls to Hank, and they're avoiding talking to Scott because they're kind of pissed off at Scott because he stole the suit to go and help Captain America. That's what we find out. He didn't have permission really to do that. He just ran off and did it, and he's like, you know, when Cap asks you for help, you gotta go and help him, right? And Hope kind of teases. He's like, Cap? And he's like, yeah, Captain America. It's what we call him. We call him Cap, which is kind of funny. So he calls Hank, leaves him a voicemail, and he's like, this is going to sound weird, but I had a dream about your wife. I don't know what this means. And he's like, maybe this is stupid. And then he hangs up the phone and he smashes it. Well, next thing you know, that actually got through to Hank and Hope, and they reached out to him. By reached out, they shot him with a tranquilizer, made him pass out, and then they kidnapped him. and they're driving around, and this is the kind of the first time that we see like a lot of these miniature cars, because Hope is driving around in a miniature minivan on the street. Hilariously enough, she's still following and obeying traffic laws, despite the fact that they're driving around in a car literally as big as this, and that's hilarious. It's driving down the streets. So she's like, "Did you actually mean that?" And Scott's like, "Am I dreaming? I don't know. Is this real? What's going on?" And Hope's like, "Was that real? Did you actually have that dream about my mom?" And then she drives to their building, which that's used a lot as well. The building shrinks and everything. And inside there, Hank is there, and he sees that Hank and Hope have been working on a quantum tunnel, which basically allows almost anybody to enter the quantum realm. It's like this big giant thing. It's like a Stargate almost, and they stand in front of it, and it pulls you in, and then it pulls you into the quantum realm. Seemingly a controlled way of doing it. And they're developing this, and they're working on this, and they're doing it because they want to enter the quantum realm to pull the wife out. But the biggest problem is they can't find her. They don't know where she is in the quantum realm. They could literally just go anywhere. And they want to use, and they think that Scott, because he has this connection now, and they confirm it by saying it was just a dream, and we were playing, it was, you playing hide and seek, and then it wasn't even you, it was some other little girl, and then all of a sudden I was your wife, and it's the weirdest thing. And Hope's like asking all these sorts of questions, like what was she in? What was she hiding in? What were the drawings on there? All this kind of stuff. And they come to the realization that the mom was feeding these memories to him as a way to kind of use it as like sonar about tracking her down of sorts. So they're able to triangulate where she is. They figure out where she is, all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, we find out that this quantum technology thing is kind of like the wave of the future. So these people, these bad guys, want to get a hold of this technology. He wants to be part of it. He's kind of like an arms dealer of sorts. Wants to get a hold of it. So they're battling him, and it's a necessary evil because he's able to get the materials to create this quantum tunnel thing. And finally he figures out what's going on, and they're like, Hank's in on this, and this quantum stuff, this is the new type of energy, and I want in on it. So there's a battle between them, and he's constantly a thorn in their side, just kind of being an obnoxious little twerp, kind of always running around. But what we discover is that way back in the day, and Lawrence Fishburne is in this, and he plays one of Hank's old colleagues who they tried apparently to create this quantum thing in the past, and there was a gentleman, another person that he was working with, that ended up getting fired from it. Hank apparently is a very cutthroat type of guy, and somehow got the guy fired. Well, the guy decided to do the experimentations himself, so he created his own stuff. His wife and daughter were there, and there was a problem, and it created an explosion that ended up killing the scientist and his wife, but didn't kill his daughter. His daughter then phase shifted, and is like out of sync with the quantum reality or something, like our reality, so she's able to phase through things kind of on a controlled level, but not too much. And what the Lawrence Fishburne character discovers is that she's slowly dying, that she's fading out eventually, and he wants to help, and discovers that this girl is there, and then goes out, tries to help her, and basically raises her, and is a very father figure to her as she's growing up. And they're studying it, they're trying to figure all this stuff out, and she eventually finds out that, now fast forward again to them being older, and they discover that one way that they think, a theory that they think could save her is Hank's wife in the quantum realm. She's been in this quantum realm for 30 years, kind of collecting all this quantum energy. They think that if they can harness this energy and redirect it into this girl who they call Ghost in the movie, which I don't know, they just started calling her that. It's like, where did the name come from? They just threw it out there. But if they can redirect this quantum energy into Ghost, it may stabilize her. But in the process, kill the mom. That's the worry. Part of my problem that I had with this was I feel like they could have just been like Hank could have been just like, hey, why don't we try working together and save everybody? Let's do it, you know. But the girl basically ends up going crazy with it and wants to go after Scott's daughter because Hank and Hope are being tracked. They're being followed. They shrink the building down and they escape as they're going after them. But this building is what has the quantum tunnel in it. So everybody's trying to get this building back. And the building is the size of like just a cube. And it's hilarious watching it kind of be bounced around and stuff. So from that point on, it's basically, so the first movie, it was interesting. The first movie is kind of like a heist movie. This one is kind of like a on the run type of movie. Everybody's on the run. They're trying to hide and they're trying to avoid getting caught. Scott's constantly trying to get back. There's like two times or something where he's got to get back to his apartment because he's being tracked by the FBI. He's not allowed to leave his house. He's on house arrest. So all this stuff is happening, and he's constantly trying to get back. And through the whole process, ends up. I'm not going to spoil too much of the movie, but through the whole process, they discover that the girl is dying. Now I said that already, and they need to try to figure out a way to save her, but the girl is now at this point so focused on just getting hold of this tunnel and getting hold of the wife to save herself that's where everything kind of comes to a head, and that's why the stakes in this film are so high. That combined with the fact that the alignment of the quantum realm, I think, was such that they're only going to be able to track the wife for a certain amount of time, and after that it won't line up for like another century, I think they said. So they're trying to get this. They the bad guys get the building, the good guys get the building back. I mean, it's kind of like a back and forth sort of thing. So they're running against the clock to try to get the mom. They're running against the clock to try to save Ghost, and ultimately everything works out. I mean, there is a lot that's in this movie that is enjoyable. They really used the shrinking and even the enlarging gimmick in CGI fairly extensively, especially with the WASP. I thought that was a lot of real cool stuff. I think in terms of the visual graphics, I thought the coolest part was Ghost. There was times where she would phase through, but then become solid enough to hit something while she was going through it. And there's a lot of really cool CGI work that's done with that. I was really quite impressed with it. And like I said, the shrinking and everything, the whole car thing came into play because they have several cars that are this size that Hank keeps around as escape vehicles, and then they can just, all the shrinking technology and everything is put into these, so you pull a lever and it makes it bigger. So that was really cool. I also really enjoyed the humor in it. It felt organic, and not really forced. I felt sometimes in the first movie it felt a little forced, like they were really trying to make everybody kind of be amusing in it. And this one had it as well, but I felt like it was more an organic flow to that comedy that was in it. A lot of it came from the Latino actor who was... There's a scene in there with the truth serum, and you guys will know it when you see it. That was ridiculously hilarious. Ultimately, it was an enjoyable movie, but the whole time I was watching it, I was kind of bothered by something. The whole time I'm like, why is nobody going to address the fact that half the people... My thing's falling down again. Like, why? Like, half the people on the planet are gone. Why is nobody addressing this fact? And that's because, again, I'm thinking it's at present day, that this movie's taking place, like, right now type of thing, after the events of Infinity War. And it doesn't. At the end of the day, at the end of the movie, they save Hope's mom. They do get her back. They find her. Hank goes into the quantum realm, talks about how beautiful it is. Me and John joked about it looks like they're in another dimension with Doctor Strange, and we were joking that Dormammu was going to pop up at some point in time. You know, Hank's going on like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. I mean, me and John were having kind of fun with that. So they do save her. There's enough time that they do get her, and this was kind of a weird thing, that the ghost character was sitting there, and the mom said that she basically evolved, that she was there. She's different than what she was before, that she's evolved. And I guess that kind of makes her, I don't know, I mean, it kind of feeds into the next thing, that she could sense the pain that the ghost character was in. Because in addition to the phasing and stuff, it apparently like really hurts her. And she wears the suit to kind of minimize that. So she could sense the pain in Ghost, and then goes over and then like does a Vulcan mind meld thing. And then she's healed, I guess. Like transfers her energy into her and stabilizes her or something. But only for a brief moment, and then it's done. Then everybody's happy. They go about their merry way. Scott is released from house arrest. Hank and his wife go off to this beach. They enlarge a house, and it is what it is. Now we come to the mid-credit scene. The mid-credit scene shows a shrunken down version of this quantum tunnel. They're going to test it, basically, and send Scott into it to harvest some of the quantum energy to bring it back to heal Ghost. So I'm assuming that what happened at the end of the movie is not a permanent thing. So they want to go and harvest more of this energy for her to stabilize her. So maybe she's not always going to be perfectly okay, and maybe the character will return or something. I mean, she goes on the limb, and she's kind of let free, basically, because and she admits it that she's hurt people, but she was just desperate kind of thing. So you kind of feel for her and what she went through. So it's Hope, Hank, Mom, and Scott there, and they activate the quantum tunnel in the back of a van. Scott goes into it, harvests the stuff, and he's talking, and they're like, come in, and there's a moment where they're like worried because he's not responding, and then he's like, okay, I'm here, and they're like, oh yeah, okay. So he harvests the stuff, and then he's like, okay, I'm ready to go, I got it, guys, it's not funny, okay, guys. Okay, I know I was joking with you. Okay, it's over. I'm ready to come home. And then we we move to an outside scene showing where the van was, and where WASP, his mom, or Hope, Mom and Dad are there, and all we see is that dust that we saw in Infinity War after Thanos snapped his fingers. So Hope, Hank, and Mom die, and they're gone. And trapping Scott in the quantum realm. Now, right before he went in, the mom was like, careful of going in this area. This is a bad area, and you really want to be careful about these time vortexes that are in there. So I feel like the time vortex thing inside the quantum realm is what is going to play a big part in Avengers 4. Is that Ant-Man can enter the quantum realm, go into these time vortexes, and somehow save everybody. That's my theory on it. It's pure speculation, but I feel like in terms of storytelling, the first thing they tell you is, like, don't bring up something that you're not going to use later on. So the fact that they're bringing up the time vortex inside the quantum realm, I feel, is their way of being able to go back in time and possibly fix the events to some degree of what Thanos was able to do by killing everybody. So everyone is dead. So this is where I was saying it kind of left me like the whole movie I'm sitting there was like, why is nobody talking about this? Because it hasn't happened yet. That's why. So I was a little bit annoyed because they say present day, which makes you think that it's after the events of Infinity War, and in reality, it's just before the events of Infinity War. So that was one aspect. Other than that, I really enjoyed the movie. It was a fun film. It was definitely in the same kind of vein as the first one, where there was more humor in it. You don't have a Paul Rudd movie without having some humor, and there were some seriously hilarious moments in it, both between some one-liners that Paul Rudd had and Michael Pena, is that his name? The Latino, I think that's his name, I forgot. But like some scenes with him were absolutely hilarious as well. So this, like I said, it was a fun movie. It was a exciting movie. There was a lot of action in it. I love the special effects in it. It looked really very good, especially a lot of the scenes where Ant-Man became Giant Man. I like that was used in it again. A lot of really fun stuff in it. A lot of really very fun stuff. I'm not the type of person to give a rating or something, but it fits in. It fits in with the rest of the Marvel movies, and I think they did a great job with it. The only thing, like I said, that I didn't like was the time framing of it. I feel like what they should have done in terms of a movie is, like, I feel like Ant-Man and Wasp should have came out 2-3 months ago when Infinity War came out. I think Ant-Man and Wasp should have came out first, then Infinity War, and then in one of the post-credit scenes have that scene. So, I mean, we see the scene with Nick Fury dying. That could have been like the very, very end. Like a post-credit scene could have been Ant-Man and him being lost in there, and then coming back out and seeing Hope and Hank and the mom dying. So I feel like Ant-Man and Wasp should have came out 3 months ago. Infinity War should have came out now. Just because the timing seems kind of stupid, honestly. I don't understand why Marvel did it that way. But you guys, I think most people are going to like it. I think they're going to enjoy it. Like I said, it comes out this Friday. Check it out. I'm sure many of you will. Having said that, I'm really excited about getting the new Ant-Man and Wasp Hot Toy figures. Those look great. They're up for pre-order right now at Big Bad Toy Store. Yes, I plugged it. Also, I'm wearing these amazing Initium sunglasses. These are the exact sunglasses. Not the exact ones that Robert Downey Jr., but these are the company that made the glasses that Robert Downey Jr. wore in Civil War. So if you recognize these, that's what it's from. These are the legit glasses from the company that made them. Amazing. So another plug right there. I'm going to do videos on these. I'm falling down. So look forward to all that stuff. Guys, go check the movie out. If you enjoy it, let's get a conversation going. I love doing this. Leave me a comment down in the video description telling me what you thought of the movie. Tell me your thoughts on if you think that they should have swapped the releases of this and Infinity War, if that would have made more sense. I think if they would have done that, I would have liked the movie a little bit more, and I wouldn't have had that weird, like, what's going on kind of thing, and wondering what's going to happen that whole time. I feel like that created an unnecessary kind of wonder in my mind. So let me know what you guys think. If you don't care about spoilers and you watch this whole video, cool. If not, and you don't watch the video until this weekend, cool. I hope you guys have fun enjoying it. Have a very safe and fun 4th of July. Until next time, this has been Rowdy Rodimus. I'll talk to you guys later.